and gentlemen, we are sitting on World Health Day, and BW Healthcare has quite an interesting discussion planned for the next half an hour, where we are looking at the post COVID 19 health reforms that should be expected in our country, largely deriving not only from what has happened in the last year, but also from the learnings of last year and what it should be as we move forward. To that effect, I have a very interesting set of speakers with me over here. We have got Dr. Farah Ingale. She's the Director of Internal Medicine at Fortis Hiranandani Hospital in Vashi. And we've also got Dr. Pradeep Shah, who is the HOD and physician for internal medicine at Fortis Hospital in Mulund. So I would like to now formally welcome you. So before we even begin, considering we are sitting at World Health Day, the international theme for this year is a fairer and a healthier world. Now, there's a major impetus towards the word fairer because of inclusivity and access of healthcare, and the fact that actually COVID-19 may have either sped up or compelled many countries, including India, to revisit their public and private healthcare options and how they could augment it. Now, I just wanted to get a sense from you on your sense of the theme. Are we sitting at a more fairer and healthier world today than we were at this time last year? Maybe Dr. Farah can begin the conversation.
Yeah, good afternoon. So I don't think actually we are sitting on a brighter side this year. In fact, the condition is still worse this year if you compare with the last year. Last year, we were stuck with the pandemic all of a sudden, unarmed, unprepared, a new disease which has attacked mankind for the first time. And it was really difficult for us managing the cases. But over a period of years, we thought we have learned and we were able to manage the patients better and the outcomes were getting better and we were hoping that it would get over. But this year again, since February mid, now the wave has hit. This is the second wave which has hit us all and it is still worse than it was in the last year. And I can say here categorically that because our country, the infrastructure is never a priority. It has never been so far, which I think should improve on. We should concentrate more on our health infrastructure and try to improve our health services more to deal with such problems which can happen. This is one of a kind, but then we have other problems because if you go to see the theme, the fairer and healthier world means when you are not only physically healthy, but also mentally and socially healthy, which is not the thing which we have as of today. We need to definitely work and improve on it. We need to work harder. We are bad this year, actually speaking.
I will have to agree with a lot of portions of what Dr. Farah has said. In fact, India began the 2010s with only 1.5% of our GDP being spent in the healthcare sector. Of course, in the 5-year plan that followed, ending at 2017, the intention was to increase it to 2.5%. But unfortunately, COVID really truly exposed the fault lines of the Indian healthcare sector. So I completely understand what Dr. Farah is telling right now, though it does make me sad. I was hoping we were at least a little bit fairer than last time. Dr. Pradeep, do you want to weigh in? Are you as negative as we all are?
I agree with Farah, whatever she has told. But I have some paradoxical gray means silver lining in this. Say last year we began with practically zero. And there was a lot of fear when this COVID struck us. Say in the month of March and April, there were hardly any protective devices available. We had hardly any infrastructure. But now we are in second wave where we are in a flood of the cases now, more than last year. And we are somewhat prepared, means we are not having fear now. That fear factor for COVID, at least in the healthcare people's mind, has gone down little bit. But we are not at ideal situation. Say we are from zero, we are say near 50, and we have to go further ahead for our preparedness, our infrastructure, and all other help from the government.
All right, all right. It always pays actually to be hopeful about what lies ahead. Again, Dr. Pradeep, you have to agree. Last year, we did not see the kind of numbers of the patients coming in that we are seeing in this year. And once again, exactly the same way we were overwhelmed last year, whether it was hospital capacity, just bed space, the ability for people to actually access it, despite the fact that be vaccine available here for the 45 plus at least. Despite that, there is still pressure on the system. So I want to understand your learnings from COVID-19, or rather the year gone, from March of last year to almost 12 months now, actually 12 months to March. What were some of your key learnings? Where you saw change, where you saw that in the last 1 year ye ek achhi cheez hui. So let's try and focus on that before we actually see on where we should head. And Dr. Farah, I'm going to pull you in again over here. In the last 1 year, according to you, the good things that happened.
Yeah. So as Dr. Pradeep Shah has rightly said, when it hit us, we were unawares. Okay, it was a totally new illness, new virus. So we really did not know how to manage. But over a period of maybe another 6 months or so, we came to know, we came to understand the etiology, the pathogenesis, the management, the protocols were formed, guidelines were laid, and then we were able to manage the patients much better. And initially, the mortality was really very high, but later on, with the protocols coming in and everybody knew how to manage, we understood the problems better, so we were able to manage better, and the mortality also came down. And by the end of the year, the cases had really come down. But what I think is, because people started taking it literally, actually you can say people are really careless. I can use this word here, not taking the problem seriously. Because what has happened is the mortality came down. People thought it is just mild illness. Many of them have recovered. So people started not listening to the authorities, not following the COVID appropriate behavior, not following the norms. And then we had this second wave in February, where the number of cases have actually gone up. And this time we are dealing with mutants, the double mutants, the variants. This virus, the second wave, is more infective, more transmissible. Of course, the deaths are not as much because we have understood the problem better. But we still need to work hard, and it is everyone's responsibility. It's not the responsibility only of the government, the authorities, or the medicos, the healthcare workers. It is everybody's individual responsibility also to contribute to follow the COVID appropriate norms. Because vaccines, though have come in, no vaccine will give you 100% protection. We have seen even healthcare workers after taking the second jab also suffering from COVID infection. But here the silver lining is, if you get infected after getting vaccinated, it will not be so serious. At least the deaths and ICU admissions can get prevented. People are still not taking things seriously in spite of so much devastation happening around and everyone seeing it. But still, of course, the livelihood was at stake when the lockdown had happened. But if you follow the norms, you can do it better. So everyone needs to improve on themselves. That's what I feel.
And I'm going to turn this into a question for Dr. Pradeep over here right now. Dr. Farah ne bilkul sahi kaha hai that we are seeing people on the road, even though it was made almost illegal to not be wearing your mask. We still see people who are not wearing it, who are crowding up, वगैरह वगैरह. Now, Dr. Pradeep, आपके ख्याल में is the government doing enough to curtail this? Are we seeing enough coming in from our authorities to kind of go in a direction where people are controlled?
Actually, government is doing much more than what we can anticipate. But it is a little bit indiscipline in our mind. Indian people, how means we people are all a little bit indisciplined, and we are overconfident about ourselves. Means there is somehow somebody feels that other person may have COVID, but I will not get COVID.
Yes.
Then secondly, suppose even if I get, I will not have more problem. I will just escape through. So that confidence level, pseudo confidence, I will call it pseudo confidence, is much more in our population. And then our population density is so much. So if I see somebody not wearing the mask, I will also be tempted not to wear the mask. And that herd mentality then propagates. So what we see in our markets or all malls and everywhere. Initially period, people all used to come with a mask and little bit cautiously. But
Yeah.
of late, once the because every day you are getting a graph from the TV, how many cases have happened, how many people have died and all. And when the COVID first wave came little down, everybody thought that, oh, we are out of this now.
Yeah, bilkul.
That pressure of all good discipline and behavior have gone in shattered. Plus, from February we started our train services, and
Yes.
yes, in the city of Bombay at least. And I don't know, because of that also, and more relaxed attitude of all our people, what we are seeing is a second wave.
And the second wave is far worse. And you're right, our poor chief minister has been saying again and again that behave yourself, ya to main lockdown kar dunga, ab unhone kar diya.
Forced to do.
Yeah, he was forced to do. Exactly. I will agree with you on that. Let's try and understand here on ways forward. We have seen in the last year that actually between the state government, the government, there was a very coordinated effort wherein they were driving towards how to give people access to healthcare. Also, we saw several reforms or at least movements coming in ensuring that there was some kind of coverage plans as well, so that it would become easier for people to be able to afford it. Now, there were moves that were done. Some were very ad hoc. Actually, some were really funny. They were that ad hoc in some of the governments, some of the state governments, but they did something or the other. Now, अब आपके ख्याल में as we move forward in the time to come, what are some of the reforms that must come in, especially given the problems जो आप लोगों ने अभी mention करी है? Problem number one being that our people are a certain kind. This is how we are. Second, the density of our population. That is really a big problem for us. And then the gap between the private and the public sector, that also poses a bit of a problem in terms of what one must expect. Even though there were caps that were put on private sectors in the last year. लेकिन फिर भी उसके बावजूद, as we move forward, what reforms must come in ताकि एक साल बाद जब हम लोग बैठे हुए हों, we actually are able to physically see some changes. Dr. Pradeep, you can lead with this one. मैं हमेशा Dr. Farah को push कर रही हूँ.
I am very sorry. I may be a little bit controversial here.
Oh, please.
Actually, this capping of the charges and all, no? It is maybe socially it is good, but government should have allowed little more liberal charging to the hospitals and doctors, so that they can improve their infrastructure little bit more. What has happened, we are in a flood. If you see airlines or if you see any other industry, if there is a demand is more, the prices of the goods, they all automatically increase. While it has happened reverse in our healthcare sector. The demand of the flood of patient has increased, and then there is a cap. So all hospitals are practically in loss. And for doctors, actually, I will say Farah is the most busy doctor. But even other doctors also, we have hardly any time to think over. We are so busy from say 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning till say 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the night. Whole day continuously we are seeing patients. So there is hardly any time to think over or analyze the thing in a proper perspective.
I got it. So basically, that's why I said ad hoc. Some of the things that they did was, I think, I'm not trying to be the governance person over here because I don't agree with our government in many, many things. Like on this case, I think I understand where they come from, especially because it had become a very problematic area, like the way it spread, the reverse migration that we were seeing at that time. Or somewhere I kind of understood that why they were trying to do that, but I agree with you, इसकी fallout has not been in our favor. लेकिन Dr. Pradeep, फिर आपके ख्याल में जब हम लोग, as we're moving forward from the way it's sounding to me, one of the health reform then that must be in place is the fair play, right? Like, from what I'm hearing from you, that should not get compromised in our way forward.
Yeah, if you see, we can analyze compare with other countries, like say USA or any other countries. They have not capped the charges.
Right. मगर some of these other countries का national health coverage भी तो अलग होता है ना. Like हमारा तो actually है ही नहीं कुछ. We have nothing. We don't have anything tax financed or state financed right now. We have nothing. But some of these other countries do have the national health coverage or unified health plans.
See, doctors, we have no complaint. We are service provider, we are devoted to the field and making people all right. So monetary gain is not important for us.
Of course, Ji.
Yeah. But then there might have been little bit say middle path which government should have made.
You have taken.
Secondly, the good thing government is doing everything whatever it can do. The most glowing example is vaccine is available free of cost to everybody.
Yes.
If you go to Dubai or if you go to USA, the cost of vaccine is say 5,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees per jab.
Yeah, bilkul.
So it is a very good move by the government. But
Right.
yeah.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you in all of these things. Dr. Farah, I'll have to, get you back in this conversation. Now, of course, Dr. Pradeep ne highlight kiya ki last year ki some of the things that, may not have really worked in our favor. Lekin aapke khayal mein, as we are moving forward, some of the things that you would like to see in our reforms and regulations that you think will help us?
Yeah, see, I completely agree with Dr. Pradeep Shah and what you had said. Now, with this fresh wave of COVID infection coming in, there is increasing load on the hospitals. And what I had seen, this second wave is affecting people more from the upper middle class and from higher socioeconomic status, unlike the last year when lower socioeconomic status people were more affected. And these people from upper middle class and higher socioeconomic status wants to get admitted in the private hospitals. And there's so much of load on us in the private hospitals here. We are already limping under the pressure. And when we will get paralyzed, we don't know, because we are already overloaded with patients. So what I think is, of course, we cannot compare our country to other developed nations, where in those developed nations, health is always a priority. It is at a higher level compared to what it is in our country. What I would suggest is the government is doing a good job, definitely a good job, like vaccinations, they are providing free. So many people had been vaccinated. And since this COVID thing has come up, they've become a little more aware about healthcare. But then we are still not equal to those of developed countries where health is given a priority. They should improve on the facilities in the government hospitals, so that people should not hesitate in going to the government hospitals. So they should improve on the health status of the government institutes, I feel, so that everyone, if the hospital's bed is not available in the private hospital, they should gladly also go as a second option to government hospitals. That we need to improve. The medical facilities in the government hospitals, the doctors, the nursing staff, and the infrastructure in the government hospitals needs to be upgraded. The status should be upgraded so that they are at least able to provide facilities equal to that of the corporates or the private hospitals. Because actually many poor people, they cannot afford to go to the private hospitals. They will always go to the government hospitals where the facilities are not adequate, and then they do not get the proper treatment many a times, because maybe lack of medications, lack of health staff over there, they are not able to cater to so many people. Every time, the health is given a back seat here. The ratio is mismatching. We do not have that many doctors compared to the population. So we need to improvise on that. You need to improve the healthcare facilities to deal with better. Vaccination, definitely they're doing a good job. But because Maharashtra now, it is 25% of the population already affected. You can say every fourth person is getting infected with COVID in this second wave. So what I would suggest from my side is, if you can vaccinate more people, include people above the age of 18, because 18 and above are already included in the vaccine trials, and it had been found to be useful. There are no side effects seen, and it is always beneficial. So why not include larger number of population in this vaccination drive, so that we'll be able to break the chain? Because many a times young people, young children, they get infected, they are asymptomatic, they themselves don't know that they are suffering from the infection, and these are the people who transmit infection to other elderly people in the houses and around who have comorbidities, and then the outcome is bad. Those people suffer from serious illnesses. So if you can improve on your vaccination drive, speed up the vaccination drive, improve the healthcare structure, especially in the government hospitals, it is definitely going to be helpful to the population in general. That's what I feel. And give a little more leverage to the healthcare. That's
You
the
actually very beautifully summarized exactly what you were saying. Improve the infrastructure and reinstate the trust in the public sector healthcare, because वो कभी-कभी एक मुद्दा हो जाता है on how much you actually have faith in that. So I agree with you on both of these points. You mentioned a point right now, which is about the unequal ratio between the infected, or rather the requirement, and the doctors, which kind of brings us to medical education. Now, between both of you, is there anything on this that you want to see changed, or so that we are able to drive more of this? ताकि ये वाला issue तो at some point is no longer an issue, obviously. But Dr. Pradeep, you could probably weigh in on this about medical education and what you're seeing around. Do you think some good changes have happened?
Yeah, a lot of good changes have happened. Actually, in last 1 year, we have learned so many good things: social distancing, masking, hand hygiene, all those things. And even people have become a little bit more alert and conscious about their behavior also. But main problem is our population, and secondly, we don't have tendency to analyze data in a critical way. So means it is our Indianness or whatever, I don't know, but we when we are and means trying to find out a solution, now we have a little bit partial solution in the form of vaccine. So why to restrict the use of vaccine? It means we can go out of our way, make it available round the clock, 24 hours, and vaccinate the people. Companies are ready to provide the vaccine. So
we have to get our infrastructure in place to actually allow the vaccine drive to be faster and more widespread.
We have a window of opportunity here in the form of vaccine. So if we vaccinate more and more people, the spread of the disease will be less and less, as it has happened with all other dreadful diseases in the past. So I feel that the government should remove those restrictions above the age of 45 or this much. They can vaccinate everybody above the age of 18, as Farah has already very clearly told. Second factor is then we have to critically analyze our ratios. What is the means as compared to number of people, how many doctors are there, how many other healthcare workers are there, how many healthcare facilities are there. So and then we should accept that. Means what is happening, the experts are telling this is the ratio is odd, but then the higher authorities may not accept that, and then it is kept under the carpet.
By accepting, आपका ये मतलब है that it is not understood enough, or it is not accepted enough to actually start changing that? Is that what you mean?
We are doctors, so we don't know the reasons behind that. Maybe social reasons or political reasons, or maybe some other financial reasons or whatever. But Farah already told that we are having too inadequate healthcare personnel in our country as compared to our population.
I got it. We are on pretty much, we have to wrap this conversation up. Again, I've taken away some points from what aap dono ne kaha. Actually, Farah put her points really, really well, and she got it all kind of pulled up together on what the expectations from the government should be. But Dr. Pradeep also made a lot of points throughout the conversation. So the fair play conversation, or rather the ability to respond, which also works in the favor of the service provider, is something that must be considered, especially when new policies and reforms are being considered or being shaped up. Uske alawa, the window of opportunity, which is actually something that has come up again and again. Now that a solution has presented itself, it is almost a waste to put constrictions on it, which is not allowing, or which is adding pressure on our already pressured system. Farah in fact says that the system is limped and you don't know when you will paralyze. That is, how much scarier can it get when the healthcare system of whether it is an individual outfit or a larger draw, can actually made to suffer that. So that's a little bit scary. Medical education, I was happy to understand from Dr. Pradeep that actually there are some important things that have happened on that, and hopefully something will change so that at least jo ye pressure pad raha hai of a higher number of patients, that can get curbed at some level, and the fear of the paralysis is at least not something that we are looking at. Now, from that, you said that we are not critically analyzing data. Dr. Pradeep Shah, you made that comment that we're not critically analyzing data. Now, is there something that can be done in this perspective that you think should also be something that our government must understand, especially while drafting its solutions?
Yes, this is a question which has to be dealt by the higher authorities.
Yeah.
Rather than window dressing, we should actually find out the real hard answer to the problems which we are facing.
That's not window dress. Well, with that, more or less, I think we have in order what we needed to discuss in terms of the learnings from COVID-19, the fact that we may not be in a better world today than we this time ago, and we should have had been. There are silver linings, and that we should build and draw on the learnings of last year, so that when people like us are meeting again, at least we can say that COVID ended up becoming an opportunity wherein the Indian healthcare sector did benefit eventually in some format, or at least was a turning point. To that effect, I'm grateful for both of your time, and I'm going to thank you on behalf of our audience and the rest of us at BW Business World.
Thank you.